Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order. And I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 10:20 a.m. Yes, and I apologize to the public, we are late. Any discussion on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And yeah, we should have that one, Mark. There was one, there was a motion in closed session, so I would ask that we have a confirming motion for matters arising from closed session. Or maybe one other item, but it'll be dealt with later in the agenda. I guess being a little bit late, that'll help out Angela and Sarah over here. And just to move things along, do we have a mover and a seconder for the confirming motion for the closed session piece? Moved by Councillor Hutchison. Seconder? Yeah. Councillor Cutting? Okay, you can put that in there, Hutchison. I'll put it in. Okay, so I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby confirms direction given by Council during closed session regarding the position of West Grey Director of Infrastructure and Public Works. Okay, any questions on that? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Guess I better mark that one. There you are, Mark. Thank you. And then we'll let the minutes show that only those items that went in were the only items discussed in closed session. Consent agenda. I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted as amended. And further, that authorization be given for actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Mark, I'll ask that you can hand out those motions to give effect for councillors to sign. That brings us down to communications from Mayor and Council. Is there any councillors that have any communications at this point in time? Anything that they've done on the weekend or anything that is coming up that the public should know about? I will say that just this past weekend, I did take in two festivals. One in the Saugeen Bluffs Conservation Maple Syrup Festival up by Paisley. Was able to get around some of the water issues to get there. Found a few more water issues when we got there. There wasn't water, but there was certainly a bit of mud created because there was a large attendance at the Bluffs. It was very well attended. One of the new things that they had on was the West Coast Lumberjack. They had 3 individuals that do shows on Lumberjack, and that was very well attended and very interesting. I think they did 3 shows both days, crosscut log sawing and axe throwing and cutting and splitting and chainsaw carving. Very, very talented individuals. And from there I went across to Grey Roots. They had their Maple Fest on as well too. Excellent spot because all the pathways there have stone dust on them, and they were very nice to walk on in comparison to what they had at the Bluffs. And I did make contact on behalf of the municipality, sent our best. Being a municipality that has had a couple of emergencies, I did speak with Mayor Pringle in Chatsworth yesterday. Late yesterday afternoon, the Highway 6 was reopened, offered any assistance that we could, that we hadn't already given to Chatsworth. Their biggest thing was trying to find enough road closed signs. In West Grey, we had a number of our own, so we had most of our signs were already out there. Matter of fact, I talked to Tim, and all of our signs were out on our roads and on a couple of the town line roads between West Grey and Chatsworth. But Chatsworth, Bob said that they were doing very well. Said thank you for any assistance, and that they would probably keep the emergency activated until at least today and maybe tomorrow coming through. And I don't know, Mark, you would come down there, whether they were still pumping water out to this morning. But there was, and there's more issues. Highway 6, you've got the visual, but I can't imagine what it's like down in McCullough Lake, and that was one of the things that Bob said, that a lot of seasonal residents there, and he's not sure that all the seasonal residents know that their property is probably underwater, so they haven't been able to contact everybody yet. So some of them will be out of the country and coming back to a bit of a disaster. So wish them all the best up in Chatsworth moving forward, and hope they get things cleaned up. If you want to, sir, go right ahead, Mr. Bell.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just a quick note. I think lots of people know about it. Grey Highlands had a problem also with Lake Eugenia, and they did have to open the dam and get rid of some water in a very careful and negotiated manner, I understand, to make sure that the water didn't overflow its banks into a lot of cottages at Lake Eugenia. So they did do that. I do know that there was significant water went down the Beaver River. I haven't heard as far as damages go, but there was great concern for a number of roads. A couple of county roads were in question as to what was going to happen with them. But I was advised by the CAO and the warden that no damage occurred to those roads, or there was I shouldn't say no damage, there was very minimal damage in one spot. So that's good news as far as taxes go.
Okay. Anything else? Any other councillors? Well, we're thankful for the snow to stop the flooding. I don't think we're thankful that it comes in April, but it may be have an effect going forward this weekend coming up. We'll see what happens there with the water issues. I do believe, Larry, we've got 2 roads that are still closed at this point in time in West Grey.
That's correct, Your Worship. There's 5 roads closed in total, but we were able to get 3 of them open. Our road crews are out in full force, removing snow from the roads at this point in time, but they hope to get back to potentially getting a few of the other roads open as well, where there's washouts and damage done to culverts, that sort of thing, get them cleaned up. But there still are 2 roads that are currently closed in West Grey, Your Worship.
With water issues. Okay. Well, the water shall go down, and hopefully it doesn't go down too fast. We do have a delegation, and I apologize, Angela and Sarah, that if we went by the agenda, you'd be finished by now. How's that? Okay, it's nice, great, thank you. Angela Newman and Sarah Ellis, program managers at the Grey Bruce Health Unit. I welcome you here this morning just to it's a new communications process with the health unit that Angela has put forward to come out and just give an update to the municipalities on what the health unit is doing and what's new and what we can expect. So Angela, I'm going to turn it over to you. Angela Newman.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, and everybody in the room for allowing us to come today and give a presentation. Is this loud enough? Okay. Okay, so I'm Angela. This is Sarah. We've actually have a few other team members from our Southeast team, which we'll talk a little bit about in this presentation, here with us today. We have Miguel, Jennifer, and Laura, so they're in the audience with us as well. Just briefly going to talk a little bit about the Grey Bruce Health Unit and move into some of the collaborations that we can look at doing together. So our vision and mission statement are posted for you. Public health, at our health unit we have about 150 people that work there, and we cover many different types of programs and services. Public health is slightly different than primary health care. So public health is looking at the entire population. Primary care basically looks at a patient at a time, and public health is very much looking at upstream, so preventative type services. How do we keep everybody staying healthy, trying to avoid the need to access primary care? So in 2012, the health unit moved into a new strategy called Public Health Community Teams. So we've divided Grey Bruce, which is our jurisdiction, into 4 quadrants. So we are a part of the Southeast quadrant. So when I mentioned these other team members we have today, those are folks that are within their own programs, but they're also a part of the larger Southeast quadrant. So what happens is that that's a multidisciplinary team. Everybody, and we meet several times a year to just talk about our geographic area and looking at the lens of your own program. So Southeast Quad actually covers 5 municipalities. So it covers West Grey, Hanover, Southgate, Grey Highlands, and Chatsworth. And so it's a collective kind of approach. How are things looking in Southeast? How are the communities functioning? What can we potentially do with our communities from a public health point of view? So this slide speaks to what we do and why we do it. So we are mandated through the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Through that ministry, they've set out, they're called Ontario Public Health Services Standards. So they set out standards that all health units must follow. It tells us what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do it, that sort of thing. And then within each of the standards, there's actual protocols that break down those services into a little bit more information. This slide really gives you the information as to, well, what are those on-the-ground types of services that we're delivering. So we're looking at things like infectious diseases. So someone like Jen, who would be working in the infectious disease team, so responding to communicable diseases and lab reports. We're looking at vaccines in schools. We're looking at tobacco prevention. So Miguel, going into the stores, making sure that they're not selling to anybody under 19. We're looking at a lot of chronic disease prevention, injury and substance abuse. So something like Laura would be working on, like the food charter. So those are the kind of services that we're trying to deliver on the ground in our communities. So this is a really quick YouTube video. If we can get it to work. Real quick YouTube video. It's 5 minutes. It's really quick.
So let's talk about health and not talk about health care at all. There are pressures on our healthcare system. Doctor shortages, ER wait times. But solving these problems won't make us healthy. We all know about our health problems. Obesity, cancer, injuries, diabetes, heart disease, asthma. The statistics paint the picture. Too many of us are unhealthy. And we all know what causes these problems. Diet, smoking, stress, inactivity. But do we really know the causes? It's just not that simple. We know that poverty is bad for your health. People who have higher incomes have more opportunities to be healthy. The more money people have, the healthier they are. Everyone is affected. Health improves at every rung up the social and income ladder. Why is this? There are many forces that impact health. At a personal level, we're affected by many things, including the food we eat, our activity levels, our coping skills, housing, our family situation, and access to health care. Our health is affected by the lifestyle decisions we make, the housing and food we can afford, and the social stressors that we face. These things are in turn influenced by our level of education, our jobs, the amount of money we earn, and our sense of community. And if we step back even more, we can see that our choices are impacted by our culture, our economy, and public policies. Okay, let's meet Lori. Lori is in the ER again. Why? She fell and broke her wrist. Why? Her new apartment is unsafe and she's stressed out. Why? She works in a service industry. She doesn't earn a lot. She can't afford a better place. Why can't she get another job and move out? She doesn't have the education to do anything else. What does Lori need for her health? She needs affordable, healthy food and housing, the ability to make healthy decisions, and effective coping skills. She needs education so she can get a good job. She needs money for housing, food, and clothing, and she needs work benefits, a safe community with friends and family, access to affordable transportation, and a safe and healthy workplace. She also needs a healthy, diverse economy to create job opportunities. Hey, who shifted the focus? Now we're talking about way more than hospitals, smoking, exercise, and diet. We're talking about our schools, our jobs, our friends and family, our employers, our government, the place we call home, our community. Healthcare alone cannot fix our health problems. We are truly at a fork in the road. If we continue where we're headed, we'll need more resources to treat illness and injury. Healthcare costs will continue to rise. It's a dead-end road. It's not sustainable. It's a very expensive Band-Aid. Or we can take another direction, towards community prosperity, well-being, productivity, and health. We can work towards affordable housing, diversity, walkable communities, local food, community engagement, and early childhood development. We can invest in our community. We are from Grey Bruce, known for our innovation and resourcefulness, known for coming up with creative solutions to complex problems. The evidence is all around us, in the news and in our communities. We are working together to build healthier communities. We can rewrite Lori's story. Lori feels great. She has a municipal council committed to diversifying the economy, property standards that promote clean, safe housing, a college that offers low-cost evening upgrade classes, support in her community to find better housing, good friends she can turn to, and excellent healthcare providers when she needs them. So, what can we do? We can improve our community's health because we are nurses, teachers, builders, dads, businesswomen, students, school trustees, municipal councilors, our community. So, let's start a conversation about health and not talk about health care at all. And then, let's get moving.
Okay, so the point of that video is to try to start the conversation about how we can start moving towards goals using both public health and using community services. So what I'm going to do is turn it over to Sarah, and she's going to talk about that.
Thanks, Angela. So I'm going to talk about how we can work together. And as part of our strategic plan, we've committed to working closer with municipalities to try and develop some mutual goals and a vision for healthy community development. So that starts with an awareness of organizational mandates, strategic plans, governance, and decision making. And that's sort of why we're here today. Some areas that we can collaborate on This is just what we have thought about. Some of them are play, and right now we work with a lot of municipal partners on play, which is increasing physical activity for all ages. We work with municipalities on complete streets and built environment, looking at healthy food choices and safe tap water and recreation facilities, looking at our local food charter and smoke-free spaces. So all of those documents are on the back table if anybody's interested. And part of our strategy to collaborate is sharing information and data. We at Public Health collect lots of data, so we want to support municipalities in their decision making. So if you need data on anything, we're more than happy to help come up with some of that for you by attending regular meetings such as this, presentation to council, developing relationships, circulation of master plans and official plans for commenting. So Public Health often comments on land use development, and any other opportunities that council can think of for collaboration with Public Health, we're more than open to. Another document that we have developed just to demonstrate the breadth of program services that we have in West Grey is we've developed our program map for West Grey, so it tells you all of the services that we offer in West Grey and how many there are. For example, we inspect 3 swimming pools in West Grey. We do vaccine clinics at 5 community schools. There are about 108 inspected food premises. So it just gives you an idea of some of the things that we do in public health that people might not know about. So I think that's it. If anybody has any questions, we're open to that and hopefully get back on your agenda.
After an overload of information, thank you, Sarah. Angela? 3 swimming pools in West Grey. You want to know where they are? Yeah, the wading pool in Durham would be one. Yes. No, they're just pools.
I know, she knows this. I'm going to look it up and put it in here. Yeah, it could be 2 campgrounds.
I was just going to say, they must be at the 2 campgrounds.
Yep.
For Durham, the wading pool, and then
Yeah, that are indoor, or seasonal. They're not, yeah. So they're great outdoors. I believe the River Place is one, and I'm trying to think of the other one, but they are out there. Good. How, if I could, Angela, Sarah, how are we making out? You made mention with the tobacco, the 9-meter setback from public. How's the acceptance been with that?
I think it's been high. All in 2015, there were 4 complaints received to the health unit in regards to still not following up or not following that particular rule. So I think overall compliance has been very high.
Just turn the mic on. It'll catch. You don't have to get too close to it. It will catch. Sorry. Yeah.
There were 4 complaints received in all of 2015. So for Grey County, that bylaw went into effect for January 1 of 2015. In all of 2015, the health unit, because we're doing the enforcement, we received 4 complaints. Is there anything else you would like to add, Miguel, to that?
I think that there are probably a few other issues around compliance, but I'm not sure everybody's aware about the 9 meters and which buildings it applies to. So there are times when during my work I've spoken to folks to make sure that they're aware, and mostly that's all that's required. If you see somebody within that 9 meters, let them know, and people are usually more than willing to move on. So it hasn't been a large enforcement activity for us, but to deal with it as we see.
Yep. Very positive, accepting education process.
It's a very high compliance. Most people, once they know, they're okay, I'll just move along. As long as there's some signage provided to help people know. If not, how are people expected to understand that? So.
Exactly.
And I would say too, a lot of the comments that we get are that if people are aware of the 9 meters, they want it to apply to all buildings. That's far more the kind of feedback that I get. People in general don't really want to have to walk through that to access any building. So the feedback is that they'd love to see it all.
All buildings, yeah. Private as well as public. Very good. Questions down here, Rob and then Doug.
You provide information, we're looking at for playground equipment. Do you have that information available, new regulations and so on?
At the health unit, we have 3 inspectors that are certified to do playground inspections. We only do those playground inspections on licensed daycares. They need it to get their license. We're actually discontinuing that program at the end of 2016 because of the cost that's involved for us to maintain the certification, and actually because we were doing it on a zero cost basis for the daycares. So we can help provide some information as to how to get your folks certified. It's an external body through Canadian Standards Association that does that, but we will not be able to offer any actual inspection services along those lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're looking at this spring, putting in a playground equipment at the Ball Diamonds. We have a
Yeah.
subcommittee, and maybe they've already
Well,
talked to you.
Is this for Ayton area?
Well, the Aiden's looking at it also, but Durham, I have a subcommittee of the rec
Okay.
committee that I'm on, and their part of that is to put a new playground equipment in and upgrade the Ball Diamonds and so
We
on.
can absolutely sit with you and pass along all the information that we have and maybe help get you going along the way, but as of at the end of 2016, our staff won't be certified to actually conduct the inspection anymore.
Okay.
But most definitely this calendar year, we can offer
Right.
all kinds of assistance there.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
So get it done this year is what she's saying, Rob, and she can help you.
With this group, they want to have it done by May.
Yes. Doug?
Yeah, I'm on the play committee for our area, so a couple of things that we talked about that you did mention that I try to bring back to council and refer and give them the information is we're looking at doing a patron survey on recreation use, healthy food choices, that type of thing. So they're looking at doing a survey this year, partially paper document versus Survey Monkey sort of thing. And the other thing we talked about, and I think it's probably the whole of the health unit and provincial too, is the concussion policy. And so we're looking at doing something, get more information, see what's out there. I think it's concussions. I think it's going to be a top-down, system where it's going to come from provincial or federal regulations. But we're also looking at that. Some municipalities have a policy now in place. So that's another thing that we talked about at our latest meeting. So I do try to pass the information on when I get it and bring the minutes to our council.
Thank you so much.
Anything else? Don, Councillor Marshall. Got to move it out just a bit so it, yeah, there you've got.
It's about the tobacco prevention, and we all know that it is against the law to drink when you're under 19 years old. Why is there not, and you probably been asked this many times, why would we go in and charge somebody that sells cigarettes to minors but do not have a law that prevents the kids from sitting over there at the high school in Hanover that are 15 years old from smoking? Why?
It's a tough question for sure. So what the government was looking at was responsibility, and that is that there's a lot of money to be made from tobacco, and that vendors are making money off of that sale, and then they have a responsibility to ensure that they're treating that product with the responsibility that it requires, as opposed to putting responsibility on a 15-year-old. So there is no possession charge for tobacco. You're quite correct about that. However, any young person who supplies tobacco to someone underage can be charged just like a vendor can. So when you're talking about school, they have to be off school property, as anybody does when they're consuming any kind of tobacco product. And if they are sharing it or supplying it to any of their friends, they are also liable to be for charges. And they are charged the same as a corporation. It doesn't vary between an individual or a corporation. But you're right, there is no possession law.
So there is no law because the tobacco industry is lobbying because of the money issue?
I think it's a about responsibility and who ultimately is responsible. It's the people who are selling the product and supplying the product. They have to take responsibility, just like we do with alcohol. They have to ensure someone is of age, and they go through, we provide all sorts of education for vendors. We provide 2 training sessions through our health unit each year that is free for vendors and staff to participate in, so they have the opportunity for all of that education so that they understand their responsibility under the law. We inspect every vendor once a year for sure, but more often than that, usually. And we do provide a test shopping program where we can go in and ensure that compliance. We have one program where we're sending someone who's over 19 but under 25, and we're ensuring that they are meeting the compliance of asking for identification if you look under the age of 25, and we provide follow-up education based upon those results. So we do give them every opportunity to be educated and to be aware of the law. But yes, they are responsible if they sell or supply tobacco to someone underage.
So there's no talk in the governance organization to bring in a law that you cannot smoke under the age of 19?
I would say that that's not something I can comment on. That's a provincial law, and that's up to them to decide. We can provide feedback from what we hear in our communities, but I can't comment on whether they intend to bring something in or not. I'm not aware of that.
You're not aware of that? Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seem to be caught up a fair bit on the smoking, so I'll throw one more in on it. It's a smoking gun. I believe that there is some certainly new legislation or enforcement around medical marijuana, vaping products and whatnot, that they are going to fall within the confines of smoking regulations and are going to follow that as we go forward. I'm not sure whether the provincial legislation and our county bylaws are quite in sync as of yet, but we're getting there.
Good.
Is that a...
Yes, as of January, the Electronic Cigarette Act came into effect, and it bans the sale of any electronic cigarette product or vaping products to someone under the age of 19. And we are expecting more elements of the Electronic Cigarette Act to come in the next couple of months, and it will ban where vaping can be done, and we are anticipating it's going to be treated like a tobacco product. You can't vape anywhere, you can't smoke. And there will be several other elements about where you can sell vaping or electronic cigarette products and so on. So it'll be busy.
Always more to do with less money. Bev, Councillor Cuddy?
Why is there going to be legislation against that when it supposedly has been tested by Health Canada? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
They're not? So why is there health issues with them?
The issue is that they are untested at this point. We do not have strong scientific evidence to indicate that they are a successful cessation product. And until that evidence is there and that we can determine that there are other health effects from secondhand vape smoke, that we can't, Health Canada's position has been that if you're going to sell an electronic cigarette product, you cannot claim a health benefit from it because we don't have proven health benefits of it. And they also have said that you can't import them if they have nicotine in them. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of follow-up from Health Canada on those two issues, so we are seeing that people are promoting them as a cessation product, and that we're also seeing that they are being sold with nicotine in them. So there's a lot of work still to be done, and what our position has been is that if you're not a smoker, there's no health benefit to using an electronic cigarette. We know that there are health ill effects to health from using them. If you are a smoker and you want to quit, you're much better to talk to your doctor and look at the cessation products that are proven and on the market and have been tested and we know work. And if you're a smoker and you don't want to quit, maybe there's some evidence around using these, but that's something you need to see with your doctor.
There's all kinds of products on the market that Health Canada allows on, or they don't allow it, they're on the market, but they're not tested, correct? Like Health Canada, like all kinds of...
I'm sure that that's possible.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Don, further.
There's a, I should know the answer to these questions before you ask them, but there's a lot of cigarettes being sold out of the trunks of cars right now. And I just wondered if you test shopper them people to make sure they're not selling to people 25 and under?
That's a little more complicated. Of course, we're using test shoppers who are between the ages of 15 and 18, and the safety and security of our teams that are doing this job for us is really important to us. So wherever we send our test shoppers, we want to make sure that they are being supervised and observed and are safe in doing their job. When you're dealing with those kind of products that you're referring to, there's a whole taxation issue around those. Mostly what we do is we provide information, document, and send that on to the financial arm of tobacco and work with them, because that's the bigger issue in terms of managing those products.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Angela, Sarah, thank you. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us, and appreciate and the work you do, and to keep in a proactive instead of being reactive when it comes to our health issues. So again, thank you very much for the update. Greatly appreciate it. It's an open and public meeting. If you want to stay, you know, you're very much welcome too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we'll do our job.
That's pretty much the correct answer that we get all the time with that. All right. Okay. So we are down then to staff reports. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess. Was there any business arising from the previous meeting? Wasn't made aware of any. All right, staff reports. And the first one, of course, Carrie's report. What page does this start on? I think we're on 70. There we are, 79. Okay, Carrie, welcome this morning. And the first report is number one is the council vouchers. Is there any questions on the voucher? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thank you. I'm really not electronically inclined, as you can see. My question.
Got it on film as well.
My question, Carrie, is just, it's on the last page, but around the costs for the St. John's Lutheran Church for the Ellenwood Resource Center, which the library is running, and it's appearing on our vouchers, is not included then in the library budget? So these costs for Ellenwood are over and above the budget in which they got something like a 5% increase. Okay.
Yeah, our budget included on our general side that we would look after the costs of the this temporary lease arrangement, knowing that next year it will need to be dealt with within the board.
Is it just the lease then we're looking after, or what about wages and so on? Is that in their budget?
No, the wages, it's just the lease for the facility.
All right, thanks.
John? Mayor Bell?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Carrie, that was supposed to come out of that reserve that we're holding on the Elmwood board? Yes, okay. Good, thank you.
Any other questions on the vouchers? Doug? Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, just a quick question. Page 88, it shows fuel costs and whatnot. I'm just wondering, it mentions furnace oil. Where do we use furnace oil?
It could be at the depots. The roads depots have furnace oil. One of the halls Is it Glenelg or Lamlash? Lamlash maybe has.
Lamlash is, and I believe the Glenelg one is as well too.
And that would appear on the library accounts though as well.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah.
there are a few buildings where we do have oil furnaces. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 6, 2016 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $577,165.04. Any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one is the quotation for the Durham Ballpark dugouts. Any comments? Rob?
Just a question, and I should know better to question Kerry. I thought we had 8,000 in the budget instead of the 7. We had put 8 in there for dugouts. Is that, no?
No, 7.
We had 8,000 in for fencing around the wading pool and things like that. New fencing in the wading pool and the shed was $8,000, and then we budgeted 7,000 for 3 new dugouts. But I believe this quote does include 4, so we're getting all 4 done for the price of
Right,
for what
yeah.
we had budgeted.
Yeah, we're getting all 4 done.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought we had
just the
budgeted.
7,000.
Okay.
Okay. No other questions on the quotation? I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the quotation from Built Right Fencing for replacement of the 4 dugouts at the Durham Ballpark in the amount of $6,995 plus HST. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Very good. Anything else? That's it for Carrie's report. Anything else, Carrie?
Just a reminder to submit your timesheets, please.
I see a few of them were getting done this morning, yeah, and a few of them are done already. Okay, get that. Any questions for Carrie? No? All right. Who's the next report? Guess we're down then to the fire chief's report. Am I correct on that? There we are. Page 102. And Phil, thank you this morning for coming in. You've got a few updates here for us, and in your report, one is from the health and safety update.
Yes, I apologize for ducking out on you last week, but things went from worse to bad last week for us. For our safety network of Grey Bruce met last week. I had missed the last 2 meetings in the fall there, so a few things that come to mind I wasn't aware of. The first one is noise audits. As of July of this year, we were mandated to do noise audits of all our workplaces, all the equipment, everything from chainsaws to sirens on trucks. That goes for graders, noise inside the grader, everything. We'll have to likely purchase a decimal meter to get this done. That's the first part of it. We go around, test everything. All the noise goes on a spreadsheet, and there's a chart that goes with the spreadsheet, tells you how many decimals you're allowed to work with and your hours of exposure. And hearing or earphones or earplugs, whatever will be recommended after a certain level. I believe it's 89 decibels is what the legal limit is now, 86 or 89 anyways. Depending how loud the noise is, something like a wood chipper, people operating wood chippers may have to have the sound devices fitted for them. They may have to the higher the noise, there's different types. You've got earplugs, you've got the earplugs that go in and they hang under your chin, you got the earmuffs. As I say, for a wood chipper, you may have to be fitted for that particular employee may have to have this done. The second part is that once the audit is done, you have to bring in a, I guess I'll call him a consultant. Grey County has a gentleman they use. He comes in with another device, puts it on your hip, and you wear it around for the day with a microphone by your ear, and it records all the sounds that you hear in the day. That then goes on a chart, and they can, if anything over the recommended decibels, he'll then interview the worker and ask them what they were doing at that time of the day to find out what the noise was. So that's got to be done. Now the third thing that Grey County does is they send all their new employees for hearing tests, so they have a benchmark on what the hearing is. So that down the road, if somebody quits or retires, whatever, leaves the organization, that they're not coming back on you for hearing aids down the road. They can come back and say, well, I lost my hearing while I was working at such and such. So that third part, I believe, is an option that maybe you should look at too. It's not part of the I guess you want to call it law, bylaw, whatever the ministry calls it. But that's something you want to look at too. So that's something I'll have to start doing. Any discussion on that?
Bev, Councillor Cuddy?
So who does this report get filed to?
This report goes to each workstation, so they are aware of what the equipment they are working with.
Right, but
and what the noise is. The Ministry of Labor comes in. If you don't have that done, that's the
so
problem.
it's the Minister of Labor
Minister
that
of
will
Labor.
look at these and
Yeah.
say, okay, this. So who is the person that judges what the decibel levels are in order to mandate either hearing aids or earplugs, or not hearing aids, earmuffs or earplugs? Earmuffs, not earmuffs.
They've already set that level. As I say, it's either 86 or 89 decibels, but you have to test each piece of equipment. And then you have to enforce your employee rather, to make sure they're wearing that at the work job site. Same as you do for hard hats, safety boots, gloves, vests.
And in here it says that there's a recordable device that can be worked off a phone, but that's not admissible in court. So what is it that you would have to have that would be admissible in court as far as the readings were?
It's a decimal meter. It's a little box. It's about this high, a square. Just looks like a little portable radio. Has a microphone on top. They range anywhere from $250 to $500. The 250 model, you'll get the machine, but you still have to have it calibrated every year. You spend the $500, you get the tuning forks and everything with it for doing the calibrations to make sure it's proper. You can get an app on your phone, but as I say, if you go to court, it's not going to stand up.
It's very interesting to me that they're so concerned about this kind of hearing and this kind of irritation and this kind of problem in the workplace when we have a MOE or MNR or whoever you want to say has issued a level of decibels that is supposed to be okay for people living within the turbines, and yet they're the ones that have the buzzing ears, the sick stomachs, and the nosebleeds, and the headaches, and the nausea, and are considering selling their home, and yet we have to put somebody, a decibel level thing on somebody running a forklift, and these people can't even get a proper study done under these circumstances when it's the health risks here are, for them, are very real. I'd like to know how this, if anything, and I know that Grey Highlands has sent out a report to us, I suppose, to all of the lower municipalities regarding sound and talking to the health unit, et cetera. I'd like to know how we could use this somehow to just zero in and get a little bit more information and figure out how to use this scenario to help our residents that are going through hell right now with the wind turbines.
Any response, Phil, or I don't know whether that was a question, direction, or?
I can't disagree with you. I know, I'm just conveying the information I picked up a couple weeks ago at the meeting. I wasn't even aware of this, but, you know, hey, what you're saying makes sense. That's about all I can say on that.
Okay. Rob, Councillor Thompson?
Kind of answer my question. You were talking costs and so on. Have you budgeted for this?
No, this came out of nowhere.
So, how are you going to?
Well, I don't know. It's the time it's the time for me to go around and do the audit, which I usually use a Thursday for health and safety anyways. So I mean, that comes out of the health and safety budget. But the health and safety budget would, I don't know if we have capital in there this year for anything. I guess not. I don't think so. Yeah. No, I guess not.
So what's the deadlines? Like, do you have till?
It comes into effect in July, so we got to start.
Seen that.
You know, so anytime after July, we gotta have to get it done because if the Ministry of Labor comes in and it's not on the Health and Safety Board, they're gonna question why.
So is this something that can be done in the new year?
Next year?
For next year's budget, or?
I wouldn't leave it that long, no. July 1 this year is when it comes into effect, so.
Very hard to do if you don't have the money.
Might be one of those partnering things to see what the rest of the municipalities are doing, as well as the county.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
know,
county can help
I know
us
the
out.
county has a machine, I saw it. I did not talk about borrowing it, but I think, I agree with the partnering thing, maybe it's, you know, we have a fit tester for ambulance and fire staff in the county. We share that machine, it's worth about $20,000. So, I mean, this could be something like that too. But I think it needs to be discussed at council level if they want to share, or CAO level, I guess, if they want to share the equipment.
Yep. Or maybe what the possibilities are, what's the feasibility of sharing and coming back to council. Doug, Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, you're probably going to talk about the radon gas thing, Phil, but I find the first paragraph a little confusing. I just want to clear it up for anybody that might be reading our minutes. On the first paragraph, last line, it says 2 items that arise during the meeting that West Craig Council should be aware of include workplace noise surveys and new noise regulations for radon gas testing. I don't think that's quite right, is it? Like,
No, that's a typo on my error,
okay.
sorry.
I just thought it might be confusing for someone, so we should just change that, that's all.
Yeah. Just in the report, new regulations, I think, not.
I'd like to answer the phone or something in that sentence.
All right. Don, Councillor Marshall.
So we were to test all the employees for how good their hearing is, and then do all this noise testing, and then they go home at night and they put on the AC/DC and crank the amp up to full blast. How are we supposed to know 20 years from now if their hearing was the loss of hearing is caused by at work or at home, or that came up in the discussion as well, believe me. And they did say AC/DC. So there you go.
I really thought Grateful
I don't
Dead,
know.
but anyway.
yeah.
I'm not really sure whether they're doing it when a new employee starts, or they do it every few years with all employees. I don't know. I want to look into that.
In the report here, Phil, you were saying that we may want to look at doing testing, but your report says all new employees will be required?
Should be, or will be.
Right.
That's what they're doing in Gray County, but.
Yeah, so it's.
That's again that again is up to you because you want to set a benchmark.
Yeah, and I know Geraldine and been around the county a bit. This has been something that's been in the county for quite a while to set where that benchmark is, and further to what Don has said, once you know the noise levels and the hearing protection that is offered and shall be required to be worn on the job site, then that hearing loss would not, can't be identified as being on the job. Then you have the ability to look elsewhere and not from a AC/DC concert per se. We won't give any other advertising, unsolicited advertising to a few other rock groups out there, or music, or running a chainsaw at home type of thing as well too. If you have that benchmark and everything's adhered to, then the hearing loss wouldn't be attributed to.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of subjectivity still in that when it goes to WSIB or benefit package going on later. But if you don't have the level to start with, the benchmark level to start with, I can't say that the judicial system says, no, you shall be responsible for it.
Yeah.
That it will be in the hands of the employer. Okay? Anything else on that? So we'll look for, whether there's any ability to coordinate some of the capital purchases and see what, as I said, I know the county has been doing this, the hearing test for all new employees. It's probably been 7 or 8 years now.
Was it that long, really?
Yeah, that the county has done it. Radon gas.
That's the other new one that's coming into effect. All workplaces have to be tested for radon gas, and I'm assuming that's places with basements only. I don't know. I don't believe arena floor. I don't think you get radon gas there, but it is on ground level. So that's something I have to look into a little further. And it's a little test kit you get, and I believe it's got to filter it or something. You got to send it away and have tested. So I got to look into the costing of that, but that's coming in. That's actually, it's had second reading already.
Mm-hmm.
So just want to make you aware of that one.
Okay.
I don't imagine it'll take effect till 1st of January when it comes in.
Comment, Rob?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I looked into it to get the unit itself, and the price I was quoted was $30. So that's $30 per every building. I wonder if there's any avenue you or your association or whoever can come up with a better way of testing these instead of having to send them off by Purelator and to a lab and then come back with the results. And I don't know if there's anything possible. Make it a lot easier for the general public out there to have it tested than shipping them off by courier and then waiting for your results.
I imagine it's got to be a certified lab that tests it, so.
I would assume so, but
Yes.
is there not a better way of doing it? So people aren't interested in doing it because of all the red tape that goes with it.
Yeah, I know.
It's nice to have maybe a unit that would, if you put it in your home, it would automatically go off or wouldn't go off. Same as your CO detectors.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the workplace here, so.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about everyone.
Yeah,
in the municipality. Yeah.
Is something that has been identified, but I think now it's more, how's the general acceptance in the community going to be handled, and what devices, technology are we going to have coming forward?
If you look at there's a map, one of the things I was looking at, and Grey Bruce and Simcoe County are actually a hot spot for radon gas. So, and it's kind of funny because I never hear any issues with the radon gas. I don't know anybody gets sick from it, but I guess it happens. I guess it's a carcinogen, really. So.
I think that's one of the bigger things that they're looking for is, as you said, didn't smoke, didn't drink, ate natural foods and still ended up with a carcinogen. How, why is that person? Apparently through Health Canada or health associations, natural occurring radon seems to be one of the contributors. How much, I'm not going to say, but it's identifying that and then trying to eliminate the cause or the causation effect in your house, workplace, or any other ones. So
yeah,
we'll keep following up on it.
Okay,
to keep a healthy.
I'll keep you up to date on that one, and I'll look in and see if there's a better way to do it for. I don't know how many basements we have in our workplaces. There's about, town hall. Yeah, it adds up, I guess. Sewage plants below ground too. So yeah, okay.
Please, yep. You're going to end up with probably 30 or 40 before you get really down to the nitty-gritty of adding them.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it on radon. just as an update. Following up on that. Now, the next one is dispatch.
We had a presentation by Barrie Fire Dispatch. They are interested in doing an RFP with us. Unfortunately, at this time, they're unable to because they have to do some equipment upgrades. They have to add to their consoles. That's at their expense. They would like the Grey County Chiefs to give them till October, the end of October. They'll come back with a yay or nay. They have to put a business plan together and speak to their people and see if they can do the capital expenditure on it. The other chiefs in the county that I've been dealing with, they're going to kind of hold off. Myself, I sent the RFP out early, as did a few of our neighbors. I'm recommending now that we take RFP and just shelve it for now. I can send a letter to those and just tell them that the council's put it on hold until further towards the end of the year. We would like to send out one RFP from the Grey County Chiefs Association. You'd have to check in the procurement bylaw and see how that works. But we think there's a little more buying power collectively than everybody going separately and doing it. So that's where I'm at with that. So that's my recommendation. It's up to council what they would like to do.
So Phil has a recommendation there, and I think, doing that jointly on something like this. I know we're still working through a joint garbage and recycling contract with refuse and getting that capacity. And there is a recommendation here, and I'm seeing who wants to fill that out. Any other questions before we introduce the motion on the report? Just the recommendation that is in our report says to the Committee of the Whole, and I think that was just cut and pasted because you had it at Committee of the Whole, so we'll deal with it as council. Just from your report. There's no other questions. I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts the recommendation from the Fire Chief to defer the present RFP for fire dispatching until late fall 2016, and that a new single collective RFP from the Grey County Fire Chiefs Association be sent out at that time to interested service providers. And further, that the Fire Chief be requested to send out thank you letters to those fire dispatch services that responded to the present RFP, explaining the matter is deferred until late fall 2016. Any questions? Mr. Bell.
Just one, Mr. Mayor, thank you for that. Phil, I think this is a very good idea, and congratulations to you and the other chiefs that are doing this. And by then, I'm going to perceive that maybe you might have a little update as to what one of our, shall we say, collective groups, and I'm speaking about our Joint Fire Service, will have their experience with one particular dispatch, so you'd be able to report on that as to how that might be working at that time?
Yes, I can do that.
Or just as far as that recommendation going forward might be considered, it'd be good to know how the history is working, so thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Anything else, Chief?
Just want to let you know that we finally, it's been a few years since we started on this Fire Pro records management system. We finally have it up and running. We're, as mentioned before, instead of going out on our own, we're under Grey Highlands license, so it's about half the cost. We are running into a few little potholes in the road here and making regular calls out to the, I guess, the computer people out in BC that run the program, trying to get it hammered out. So it's a learning curve. We started about 2 weeks ago, so the Grey Highlands chief has been over 3 times to sit down with me, and we go through another section of it. And it looks after everything right from maintenance of the trucks to fire inspections. So we're just, it's going to be a while before it's up and running 100%, but it's starting pretty good.
Sorry, Adam. So we're at the clerk's report. Recommendation from Committee of the Whole on March 28th was around bartender wages. Had been approved to come forward and be passed as a resolution. Was there any other discussion on this? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thank you. I apologize I wasn't here for the discussion. I was, as you know, I wasn't well. I would like this to be reconsidered. I understand that during the discussion there were comparables asked for and none were relayed. I do have the comparables. Actually, Tom was asked by staff to get some comparables. And just for your information, South Bruce, that's Mild Métis Water, pay their bartenders $18 an hour. Walkerton pays $18 an hour. Hanover pays $18.18 per hour. And Cargill pays $15 per hour. Substantially more than what we're paying our bartenders. North Wellington, apparently a renter, is able to bring their own bartenders for events, which isn't a very good idea. And just, I know you had the background, but in 2011, our bartenders were only making $11.15 an hour, and there was no administration charge. In 2012, it was raised to $15, which was comparable to the, so they were sort of in the ballpark. And there was no admin. And then administration realized that they had made a mistake, and there was supposed to be $3 taken from each of that $15 an hour to cover administration. So a letter went out, and I have a copy of the letter here, and they were cut back to $12 an hour after having received this for a whole year. The bartenders, I don't know if you really realize, those of you that aren't involved with facilities, they have a very responsible job. They are our staff people there. They are representing us. They are working for us. They're responsible for the building, the people, the money. They're responsible for closing up. They have a lot of responsibility. We, at $12, they were getting 75 cents more, I think it was, than our junior lifeguards. Our roller skate cruiser, cruises around skating, he gets $15 an hour. Now, I do understand as well, a comment was made that a 25% increase, like everybody would like that. These people were not put on the grid. The rest of the staff, other than the summer staff and the bartenders, were not part of that that study. They were not evaluated. They were not put on the grid. I don't feel giving them an increase to $15 should trigger anything like that. And do keep in mind that this does not come from the levy. It does not come from the taxpayers. It comes from the renter. And right now, I don't know if these other facilities are charging administration on top of that, what they're paying their bartenders. But if we put it up to $15 and put our rates up to $18, that would still give the bartenders the money, still give $3 to administration, and we're not out of the ballpark with our rates because we're where the rest of them are. I'd really ask that you give this consideration. It's most unfair, and it's another subject for another day, but we are not paying our summer staff enough either. But as I say, in this case, at $12, they were getting only 75 cents more than a junior lifeguard, which is ridiculous. So, Mr. Mayor, I don't know how to handle this. I would move an amendment, but I don't know if that's the way you'd want to do it, or whether we could defer it and have further discussion on it, maybe at Committee of the Whole or something. I'd like to see Tom and Randy here to be able to answer some questions on it.
Well, then you're indicating if that's the case, then I would take a motion to table.
So moved.
Very good. Motion to table, resolution.
To Committee of the Whole.
What was it? 128. to defer that to committee of the whole. Okay, which would be April 25th. Do we have a seconder for that tabling?
Still isn't.
According to Robert's rules, there will be no, well, you need a seconder to be able to discuss it. Ms. Cutting.
There's no
Sorry.
discussion on tabling, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, if I do get it, sorry, what I wanted to say is if we do get it, if I don't get a seconder, we can discuss it. If I get a seconder, then there is no discussion on tabling. So, moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Cutting, that the resolution be tabled until April meeting, April Committee of the Whole.
And can I request that Tom and Randy be here for the discussion, please?
Yes. Okay. So we have the duly noted to table. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling? Right. Moving to table. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Opposed? That is carried. All right, Mark, I'll let you mark that. And we'll bring that forward at Committee of the Whole with Tom and Randy in place and some further background information on comparators.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. The next one, Mark, that one being dealt with. The next one is the Newstead maintenance proposal put forward at Committee of the Whole, was it not?
Yes,
Or Council?
given that the position of the Director of Infrastructure and Public Works is currently vacant, I would recommend that only a one-year contract be entertained at this point. The new Director of Infrastructure, whenever appointed, may have some different options he or she would like to entertain. And I think if one looks to a 5-year contract, you may want to look at maybe a more thorough process for requests for quotations.
Okay. Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
I just have a question. Nothing against Mark, but why is Public Works on the clerk's report when it's under the CAO until we have a replacement?
Go ahead, Mark.
I happened to be available at the time when the matter had to be included in a report, so I did offer to include it in my report.
Okay. John, do you have anything further? No. Okay. All right, with that explanation, is there anything further on discussion before we get the motion here? Okay, I have a motion moved by John A. Bell, seconded by Rob Thompson, resolved that Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts the quote from Botanical Designs and Installation for a one-year maintenance agreement for the summer and winter jobs in Newstead for 2016-17 as described in the quote at a cost of $39,971.72 plus applicable taxes. This is more or less a yearly extension of the contract that we already have with Botanical. Okay. Any other questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Be recorded as a no. Okay. Municipality of Grey Highlands has passed a resolution that's looking for council support on asking the health unit to investigate health-related concerns. Any questions or comments before we introduce? Doug? Councillor Hutchison. Can you turn your mic on and then we'll be fine?
Sorry, I had my finger on it, just didn't push the button.
Push.
Am I missing something, or just the item just before that, Municipal Greyhounds, it talks about, is there something missing there or something wrong there, Mark?
Something should have been missing there, and it was inadvertently left in my report. That should be deleted.
Okay. Because I read that.
First paragraph on the second page.
Yeah.
It was left over from a earlier report.
Okay, I thought there was something
A little
wrong
cut and paste there. Yeah, cut too much. Okay. Any other discussion or comments on this one? So I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, excuse me, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports the resolution of the Council of the Municipality of Grey Highlands, directing municipal staff to initiate discussions with the Grey Bruce Health Unit and/or appropriate body to lobby that the body to investigate the health-related concerns of residents regarding the potential health effects of wind turbines in order to commence health-related research and studies. And further, that a supporting letter be forwarded to the Grey Bruce Health Unit and Municipality of Grey Highlands. Carol.
I would urge council to support this. It's not only Grey Highlands that has people sick. We have 9 families in our own community here out in Glenelg that are sick from turbines, and I'm sure the same issues and the same symptoms are, doesn't matter which municipality we're in. So I believe a study like this would be very appropriate and maybe get somewhere to help these people that are suffering out there, because I only wish all of you had been at the CLC, the Community Liaison Committee with Nextera. You needed to be there to hear the depositions from these 3 people. I mean, it's heartbreaking, and they're suffering.
Bev?
Yeah, I would urge council to support this also. I read through all the letters that were contained in this submission from Grey Highlands. It can't possibly be coincidence that all our families in Glenelg are suffering exactly the same problems that the families in Grey Highlands are doing miles apart. It also broke my heart to hear that there were 4 more projects that have been approved in Grey Highlands. And so this is just going to continue to grow as far as families are walking away from their homes, trying to sell them, and yet having the real trauma of selling them to people who are, you know, when they come in and say, are there any issues? How do you say no when you can't sleep at night, you've got buzzing? And one thing that was very interesting is in each one of those letters, or a number of those letters, it said that they felt the turbines even through their pillows. Like the pillows would like vibrate and they could feel the turbines through their pillows. And I thought, how unnerving is that for trying to sleep? So I really urge that something be done on our side. The very fact that we're running noise studies for our employees, running things like chainsaws, etc. You know, it's mind-boggling to me that none of this has been put back onto the people who are right close to the turbines, and how these studies could help maybe to prove to the MOE and whoever that 40 decibels and 550 meters is not a acceptable distance or level of sound. So I really urge council to definitely support this.
Okay, anything further? The only thing I will say is Stuart Halliday, I sit on the health unit, and Stuart Halliday, the Deputy Mayor of Grey Highlands, has brought this up, that the resolution coming forward from Grey Highlands to the board, and the board certainly looks forward to it, and at the health unit, and seeing what the response was when we get the full request to see what avenues or what possibilities that the health unit has on investigating this. So we'll see that coming forward shortly. Okay? No. if nothing else, but yes, Ms. Cutting, you have something else.
Well, I'm just wondering if it shouldn't be CC'd to a few other people. I'm wondering if the MOE should not know that we're looking into this, that maybe the wind turbine companies themselves, like there's a number of, it's only CC'd to the public health and to lower municipalities, and who else did it say there? I don't have it up in front of me.
Health Canada, Southeast Grey Community Health Centre, County of Grey and all lower tiers, County of Bruce and all lower tiers.
Right, so should it go, did it say the MOE and the, no, like that, should they not be informed as to that this kind of thing is going on and that there's a concern? They're the ones that
I guess,
accept.
but, you know.
I know it's to do with health, but.
Well, it's not as much about do with health, but it's Grey Highlands. I mean,
Yeah.
we're supporting their motion. You know,
I know.
how do we get involved of taking their motion and sending it to everybody else? Should there be a letter go back to Grey Highlands?
I was going to
and
say maybe then, yes, maybe
just
we
a
should
response?
add a note saying that we believe, we are in support of this, but we believe maybe this should be
Circulate,
CC'd to, yeah, that's a good idea.
Would you, Grey Highlands, consider CCing too? Yeah. Okay, we'll make that note and I'll send it back under my signature. Okay? Okay? Any other discussion? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one is also from Grey Highlands, which is the joint building committee and the, no, sorry. I said building committee, joint environmental services initiative. I've gone through that and have the proposals. It was suggested by the joint committee that it be a joint public meeting, kind of centrally located, which would be Flesherton, has been the response, for an open house at 6, with the joint meeting being held at 7 o'clock. Any further comments on that? Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Yeah, if I could, just to let everybody know, yeah, this was a decision that was arrived at by the committee, realizing that there's a lot of information. So with the idea that it does encompass 3 different municipalities, each part of the tendering process could pertain to one municipality or another, and there might be specific questions want to be asked by people of each municipality to their elected officials regarding this. So this was the format that we decided upon, to get there, to get the information, then sit down and hear the information from the consultant as to how this is going to move forward. I will say, I think, and Mr. CAO, you can weigh on this at whatever time, I think we were most pleased with the tendering process as to how it went, and I do know that there could and should be significant savings to the 3 municipalities if this does move ahead. So I'll leave it at that, because I think the process was a very good one. I've never really been involved in one just quite like it, but going forward I can see more things being done this way, and it is going to benefit all in the area.
Okay. Any other questions before we introduce? I have the motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves holding a special joint committee of the whole meeting of the Municipality of West Grey with the Municipality of Grey Highlands to be held on April 19th, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Flesherton Kinplex, with an open house starting at 6 p.m. with the sole purpose of the meeting being to provide committee of the whole members and the public with an overview of the results of the tender process of the Joint Environmental Services Initiative. Just one thing on the motion, for a friendly amendment from the mover and seconder, the Township of Chatsworth should also be included in this. Okay, I will, if that's friendly enough, I'll add that in. They are the 3rd in this tripartite agreement. Okay? Any other questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Mr. McKnight, we have a request for a drain improvement.
Just want to sit there.
No. I think we've only got one in front of us at this point in time, but well, two pieces to the drain, not two different requests. Yeah, and we'll do that shortly. So that's what, that's what we have in front of us. As you can see, to straighten one part of the drain. If I'm not mistaken, the other one is as it goes across the field to put it into a tile and bury it, enclose the drain. Now, Harold, there's a button there, it'll be a light blue button, and that'll turn red, and Adam's going to record everything you say, can and will be. No, thank you for that part, Harold. Are there any questions on this? And we did have this morning, Harold, Mark's been able to make us available of your comments and reference to the sections there. That
I apologize for not having it available last week. This was a weekend job.
I got that when when the email that came through last night as Mark forwarded it to us. It'll be recognized at the appreciation dinner sometime, Mark, that you were working last night, and Harold too. No, you were forwarding stuff. Harold was doing the work over the weekend. Okay. Any questions of Harold on this? Doug? Councillor Hutchison?
I guess my question being, and not totally knowing all the background in the situation, but I'm just curious why they're enclosing, why they want to put in a concrete drainage tile rather than using big old tile. Like, what's the purpose with the concrete drainage tile? I don't understand that part.
As the size increases, the cost per meter reduces with the concrete tile. Plastic is much more expensive when you get up into the larger sizes. I assume we're going to have some kind of a size here between, I'll have to put it in imperial, but 24 to 30 inches probably.
Okay.
What is the reason for covering the ditch then? Are they planning on using this area for something?
For the better use of the lands, basically. Our farmers are getting larger, the field equipment's getting larger, wider, sprayers up to 150 feet in diameter and width, corn planters up to 36 row, and so these angle ditches, municipal drains that go through the property make it less efficient with this larger equipment that's being used. We can call it industrial farming, we can call it whatever. Operations are definitely getting larger.
So it's basically an entrance then we're looking at.
I'm sorry?
It's basically an entrance to a field or to a...
No, it's not an entrance, it's
just a drain.
An enclosure of a municipal drain that's proceeding across the field or the land.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it cuts a 40-acre field in half down along County Road 3. So by enclosing it, now you, instead of having two 20-acre fields or two 10-acre, now you're going to have a 40-acre field. And going across all the way across there, you're probably losing, Harold, with the municipal drain, 2 acres?
Yeah.
At least.
At least.
That they would gain in productive crop ground by burying it instead of working around it. Okay. Any further questions? Don? Councillor Marshall?
The benefit is going to be borne by this one farmer. Does he pick up the total cost?
Not entirely.
It's shared by all the people on the municipal drain system?
There will be an assessment, yes, cost.
Is that a fair way to assess this project?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
The way it's been
I'm not going through the reason, but yes, municipal drains are in place so that everybody shares the cost of water flowing from higher areas to lower areas. Whether it's right or wrong, it's been done since before Confederation. The Drainage Act has been in place, so I don't think we want to go back that far.
Now going back to the original first drain, it did probably benefit all the property owners. But now this upgrade is only going to benefit the one. It will work for the same for all of them if the drain goes down through an open drain or through a closed drain.
The engineer will do the assessment, so he may assess more of a cost to that particular landowner. I can only say may. But every drain has an assessment on benefit and outlet. Outlet is an acreage assessment. Someday I can sit down with you and give you the 140 sections of the Act. It's good. It's good midnight reading.
And I'm just wondering today why all the rest of the payers, it's in the Act, but why they would have to pay upstream from this project.
The landowner will pay the majority of the cost.
So does the 20 other landowners that are going to pay some of the cost?
Some of the cost.
Do they have a public meeting they can come in and voice their concerns on this?
There will be a quarter revision where they can voice their assessment charges.
They will have a site visit, correct, Harold?
Yes.
And there will be likely a public information meeting, and the assessments are made
There will be an on-site meeting.
just the on-site.
Which
okay.
only the people involved on the drain are invited to.
Okay.
It's not a public meeting.
But there is a mechanism for appealing to the court of revision, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Don?
Well, not on that.
Will be, and I may say that from one point, what it may do when a drain is enclosed, the thought of clean out and whatnot now becomes a moot point. So is there some savings down the road from having to clean out the drain? Yeah. Again, being subjective, but when you start cleaning out a drain, there's responsibilities for everybody on that as well too, so.
The enclosure is not a done deal.
No.
The Conservation Authority could oppose it, and I don't know what'll happen if they do oppose it. I guess we have to go to the tribunal hearing.
Right. So.
There's going to be more of these requests come along.
Well, as farmland becomes more expensive, and we may be making some farmable land available in New Liskeard, but and there certainly has been some demands for it in Graham Bruce as well too, as taking whether it is some swale land and or treed areas out and putting back into production.
I prefer that you didn't call the land in Benwick Township swale land.
I didn't say Bentic, I said in some areas. I may have been thinking, I said globally in Grey County there, Mr. McKnight. Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? Don?
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there because Harold's here and I can. We had an enormous amount of rain here in the last couple of weeks and a lot of flooding going on. And this is probably some of the problem, is that we're putting in tile drainage and tile municipal drains to get the water as quickly as possible from the high ground to the rivers. And I can see that Saugeen Valley should be stepping up and taking another look at all this tile drainage that's going in and holding back the water just a little bit better so they don't have these flooding problems.
I have no problem with your statement whatsoever. It's just that some of us like to eat beef, some of us like to drink milk, and as time goes along, our younger farmers just cannot start farming, and so the people that are there are trying to do it as efficiently as they can. We had 6 inches of rain over the last week. My concern is the amount of topsoil that's gone off as a result of those 6 inches of rain. If you want it in metric, I can convert it, but we had a lot of erosion in the last week. Just have to drive around. We should be seeing more no-till, but that is not totally accepted either. I have no problem with your concern whatsoever. But when land is approaching $10,000 an acre plus, $1 million for 100 acres, improvement makes much more sense than buying more land.
I'm going to offer one statement. On the 18th concession of Normanby, there was some tile drainage done last fall on a piece of property just off of County Road 3. There is a module home just to the west of that property. I've lived in that area, and ever since I've lived there, every spring there has been water over the driveway into that home and concerns with flooding for that home. Tile drainage went in last fall, and that 6 inches of rain that come down, the driveway was not flooded this year. The water was able to get away. They've directed the water away from it, improved the municipal drain that it flows into, and had no problems. And I will say, though, Don, I do agree with you that unless the whole of the stormwater is looked at, we're having a problem. It's going to create a problem, and in saying that, talking to, as I said earlier in the meeting, talking to Mayor Pringle in Chatsworth, it was one of the reasons that they did not open up as much water to get it out of Williamsford as they could, because of the effect it was going to have down in McCullough Lake, and even further on, the effect it would have at Scone at the mill where they had problems a few years ago. They had to take that into consideration of where the water's going, where it's going to end up. And to your comment, I did talk to Mayor Mike Smith at Saugeen Shores Thursday afternoon, before we even got all the rain on Thursday, and he said it was amazing the brown plume that was coming out of the Saugeen River into Lake Huron, and how far. He said, yeah, it went further. He says, I don't see as far as I used to, but it still went further than his eyesight. He's figuring it was probably down, all the way down to Bruce Nuclear at Tiverton was the extent of where you could see it, is what he had been told by somebody that flew over it. So
the Saugeen River is considered one of the cleanest cold water streams in Ontario. It was. I agree with your statement. The color is changing.
Yep.
More cash cropping. That is one reason why the Saugeen Valley is so concerned about these projects. And Don, I have no problem whatsoever with being involved. We need all input from all agencies, even though they slow things down. It's necessary.
Yep, a little more education on it. Okay.
You may ask why I'm recommending Dietrich Engineering. We've worked with them in the past on the Shank Drain. Is that the one you're talking about on the 18th?
Yes.
They seem to have personnel that can work with the agriculture people, with the Conservation Authority. They understand the farming community. Not all engineering firms do. And they have experience dealing with all those agencies. So I've spoken with Greg Nanseville, and they're willing to act as an engineer on this particular job.
Okay. And in this case, no, I wasn't talking about the Shank Drain. It's another one there, Harold.
Which one is it?
No, it's not the Shank one. It's another one there.
I thought you were going to complain about that because there's a lot of water sitting down there.
I have no complaints about it. Okay. Great discussion, and yeah, the implications of where this may go is we'll keep a positive eye on it going forward. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby appoints Dietrich Engineering Limited to provide engineering services for proposed municipal drain improvements to the Dom Municipal Drain, requested by Vernon Dipple for lands in the vicinity of Part Lot 11, Concession 6, former Township of Normanby, and Part Lot 14, Concession 5, former Township of Normanby. Any further questions or discussion on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, that's it for Mark's report. Any questions for Mark? Thanks, Harold. Any other comments, Mark? What does that bring us down to? Where's Larry's? Oh, I need to go further than that. So Larry, we're going to your report. Yes, that drainage section went a long ways. 146. Thank you this morning, Larry. The first one is for council's information is the upcoming job fair.
Yes, sir. This report went out before I received a phone call on Friday, and in discussions with the chair of the Economic Development Committee. There was only a couple of interested employers who did not reside in West Grey that were going to be attending this job fair, and based on the recommendation and discussion with the chair, we've opted to cancel the job fair at this point in time, but potentially look at one again in the fall and catch that seasonal. The weather was against us this year. Most of the employers that hire summer students or summer staff, be they full or part-time people, had already hired. A lot of the landscaping companies and that sort of thing had already hired, and there was burnout with some of the other employers. For example, one of the larger ones in the area that attended, a vast number of them, just simply burned out and did not have the resources to attend the one this upcoming one in April. So we are going to cancel the April 14th job fair and look at hosting one in the fall. That's pending the chat with Councillor Thompson, or Chair Thompson, and also with YMCA.
Okay. Anything else on that one? Okay. Recreation update.
Yes, sir. Old bleachers in Durham. Facility manager Murray contacted me and advised that he's had a request from the public in regards to 2 old bleachers that are no longer used by Durham Recreation. I believe that there may be additional interest, and that it would be best to put advertise them as surplus to our needs and see what kind of bids we can get on them. Is item number 1. And 2, Normanby Arena's budget to have steel installed around the rink in the arena. An RFP in general will be placed in local paper and advertised on our website. RFP will go out and close this week and close on April the 20th. And there will be a clause on timing of this RFP to not conflict with the upcoming homecoming festivities.
Okay. Questions or comments? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thank you. On the bleachers, Newstead is in very much need of bleachers. We have old, I'm sure these are in better shape than what Newstead has, and they need more on the soccer pitch. So I'm wondering if, before they're sold, if it wouldn't be a good idea to see if any of the other facilities need these excess equipment before we do sell them. Like in future, I think we should do that. You know, circulate to our other facilities and see if there's a need for something that one is disposing of. But if these bleachers are usable and could be fixed, they could certainly be used at Newstead rather than selling them. I'm assuming they were not bought by the Recreation Committee, but through budgets, so they could go to Newstead.
I think that would be good. I can see Larry writing that down to get in contact with who would be Tom that would look after that type of, and not, I guess in consultation. Who runs?
Actually, Tom is going to be in the process of trying to fix the bleachers that are there, but we have to get more as well, and they're being moved to accommodate a second soccer field. So, yeah, it would be good if they could be used there rather than sold.
Okay. That sounds good. Everything fine with that, Larry? Doug, do you have a comment? No? Okay. All right, good. Look at that before we put them out there. And then the other one, of course, was the effect of the railing for the Norman B Arena under that budgeted project. So thanks for that update that it's going out, and in the recognition that it's got to be done by June 30th.
No, sir.
Or
by
earlier.
June the 5th at the request of the facilities manager.
Yeah. It was sometime in June. Okay. Any questions for Larry? Okay, seeing none. That's it for staff reports. Then that should bring us down to bylaws. I think we have two. So we'll wait for 26 to come in. Got it. Okay, we're into bylaws for first, second, and third reading. The first bylaw is dealing with the purchase of a property by the municipality. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that bylaw number 26, 2016, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, to sign an agreement of purchase and sale respecting the purchase of lands by the Municipality of West Grey from 1872992 Ontario Inc., described as Lot 1, Plan 507 Durham, ST, interest in R453651, West Grey, PIN 37320-0178, and Part Reserve Plan 507 Durham, Part Lot 14, Plan 507, as in R551209, West Grey, PIN 37320-0177, Municipality of West Grey, former Town of Durham, County of Grey. Be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
I have a few questions, if I might be allowed, please.
Yes.
For myself and the public, where is the money coming from? That's one. I feel there's been no business plan around this, and how is it going to be repaid, and why has there been no fundraising on this?
I think I can give you some of that on the financing of it. There is two reserves. One, the library reserve, and a capital facilities development charges reserve that over half of the funding will be coming from. This is a municipal purchase. The other portion can come from the sale of municipal properties and be directed towards to pay this off. Looking at, we found that there was, Mark's brought it up, I didn't know the exact numbers, there's about 133,000 available from the library reserve, and about 82,000 from DC charges, leaving about 117, give or take, to be either financed, and we can do that internally. There has been getting to that library fund, there's about 25,000 or more per year that has gone into that purchase or into that reserve, so we can direct that to pay it off in about 3.5 to 4 years time, if we borrow it internally or borrow it at the interest rate of the banking facility.
Okay. And the cost of the renovations on top of that?
Cost of the renovations for the building for the appropriated use would be on top of that, yes.
Coming from?
And could either be financed and/or being taken out, financed internally, or taking out of the remain as a deficit financing from the library budget.
Thank you. We just passed a motion today to put a new roof on it.
Not on this property, no.
On the library, the old library, we
That's
have just
correct.
passed a motion to put a new roof on that building. There are new furnaces in it. Has there been any discussion on the disposition of this building?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And I guess I just feel it's wrong to jump into this while Ellenwood sits closed for a whole year without any decisions being made or on work on that building. Like, they're getting a substandard service over there compared to everybody else. And I just find this wrong. I guess I have a problem with it, and I did mention before that I couldn't support this. It has nothing to do with the building nor the owner, or even the concept, but I just think we're jumping into this too quickly, and we really need to look at we need to do a service review on the whole library service. I mean, our costs are becoming prohibitive. When you looked at the budget, at the gross costs of operating, the library is almost 50% of what it costs us to operate all of our arenas and halls and playgrounds and ball fields. It's becoming very, very expensive. And I hope that even though you're going to get a new building, I do hope that that'll happen and have a look at that, because it's becoming extremely expensive. My last question, the archives room, there is an agreement, and it can be found, I'm sure, there was an agreement between the Town of Durham and the Library Board for the use of the room for an archives or a memorabilia, whatever you want to call it. Been a lot of work done there by volunteers. It holds Durham's history. I wonder if there's been any discussion on that, and where is that going?
I'm not aware of any discussion, any formal discussions. I will say that there has been some discussion with staff internally here in the office that a lot of that stuff could be stored and or being made accessible even right through here through the office, and could be displayed in a number of places on the walls through this office on a rotating basis. Was one of the proposals that was put out there from staff here.
Doesn't sound like a very good solution to me, Mr. Mayor. I hope they come up with a better one than that. That's not the intent of that display and all the work that the volunteers did to bring it out here and ask somebody if you can go look at it. And you can't display it in the walls here. We don't have that many walls, and Durham's just one. We've got 4 municipalities that might have that kind of thing. I just hope they'll take another look at that and try and accommodate it. Maybe in the meeting room that they're going to have, they could accommodate that.
That is a possibility as well too, and I think that the library, certainly the CEO, has been made aware of trying to accommodate that. But I haven't had any formal discussions, and I don't believe senior staff has had any formal discussions, either Larry or Mark, at this point in time. Okay? Very good. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those... Yes, been introduced. The request for a recorded vote. And Mr. Bell, are you getting ready to vote, or you got a comment?
No, I think I know the order as far as the vote goes. Mr.
Very
Chair.
good.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Yes.
Good.
Councillor Cutting. Mayor Eccles.
Yes.
Councillor Hutchison.
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence. Councillor Marshall.
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
6.
Okay, declare the motion passed on a recorded vote, 6-1. That is carried. Very good. Next one is the confirming bylaw, number 27. Motion moved by Don B. Marshall, second by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 27, 2016, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 4th, 2016 council meeting, being now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor, the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. New business. Seeing none. Addendums. Notice of motion. Any direct motions? Not aware of any. Do we have anything else under closed session? Don't believe there's any matters under closed session. Question period. We'll entertain any questions on anything, specific items from the agenda. Ms. Radcliffe. Marion?
Marion Radcliffe, I'd like to thank council for supporting Grey Highlands for resolution to the health, towards health studies. Sorry about that. I'm hoping that we can take part in this, also support any opportunity we have to take part in the study. And Don, I'm a little disappointed, Councilor Marshall, that you're not supporting this. Also look at the safety of them, because what's the point of replacing something as polluting as coal with something that's going to make people sick in a different way? That we do want to move forward with this, but health study should be done to make sure that whatever we're replacing coal with is something that's much safer and is not going to cause harm. So I would really appreciate it, if you do support this in the future.
Comment? Sure, go ahead, Don.
Well, I do appreciate that there's health concerns out there. I think that it doesn't matter how many health studies we do, we'll never come up with a conclusion. Ever. I would recommend when people write in about their health concerns to the OE, that they don't put in about the real values going down. It takes the act out of the letter to the MOE when they put in about real estate values. I'm not sure in my mind what all the concerns are about. And people are upset before the wind turbines went up. They were upset and stressed. Is part of that what's making them sick now?
Well, first of all, I have sent many letters, or not letters, but phone calls into MOE and Nixon. And I do not discuss my property values because I don't want to sell it. I don't want to move. I love it here. Mm-hmm. However, 4:30 yesterday morning, I was awake. And I was awake because of turbine. Okay? That is what the problem is.
Okay.
It's being woken up at 2:30, at 4:30. It's not being able to sit on your deck. It's not being able to sit in your house at night and read a book with the radio off. That's it's about being stressed by this constant noise. If the wind, and it is directional. I mean, there are good days and there are bad days. When the wind is from the south general, it is awful on my property. And oddly enough, when the wind's from the northwest, I haven't quite figured that one, then I just get this hum. So it's the fact that you can't sit in your house without this constant when you're just trying to sit and read a book on it. And it's being woken up when it does. The level of it really picks up. As again, if that wind hits that right pitch, middle of the night, they don't care. I mean, I've asked that they at least just shut it off.
Okay. There's no question. This was a question period, not, yeah, and I'll let you go, but.
He directed, he didn't understand what the concern was, and I'm just sharing that.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Go ahead.
Regarding fern drainage.
Mr. Gutsky. Paul.
Paul Gutsky. I own property over in Newstead. regarding farm drainage, it allows fertilizers down into our water system, our rivers. And you look at the river over in Newstead, Moose Creek, there's gabion basket walls put in there some 40 years ago, and they're deteriorating right now. And I mentioned it to municipal staff here as well as Southern Valley Conservation Authority about the gabion baskets that are opening up. Nothing to date has been done to mitigate the damages there. And they should put somebody in charge to look at them and do a follow-up plan, because it's going to get darn costly someday to replace that wall.
So noted. I do know that that work was done under the former municipality of Newstead, or the village of Newstead, and was directed by the Conservation Authority. I will inform them again. I know that they did do an inspection per se of that, so we'll make sure that we're following up with them, as they have been the lead on that in the past, and check on it. You're not the first person over the last number of years that has raised some concern over that. We are doing, the municipality, as you'll be aware, has done some stormwater management practices on William Street, on Mary Street, I believe it was last year, and continuing forward with that. And that portion from the drains down through to the river itself, or the creek, make an important part of that. And going on with what Don said, yeah, you can get the water off of this part, but before you have the reactive effect further on downstream, we need to look at that as a whole, not just as parcels. Appreciate that. Thanks, Paul.
And also with the farm drainage, we've got wetlands that are being drained. Do we really want that? That's a filter for our water system, or for kids, grandchildren. We've got wetlands that are being filled up with soil that's coming in from other counties. You look outside, it's happening today. Is that a practice we want to keep going with?
A very, very in-depth discussion at some point in time will need to be done with that. I guess, one of the other factors comes in, and this one always plays in my mind, that Rome was deteriorating. Nobody could stay healthy. It was because of the water and the swamps that surrounded Rome, was the opinion of the day. So the Romans drained the swamps, and the health improved dramatically. What they found was, it wasn't the water that was causing everybody to be sick, it was the mosquitoes that were in the water that caused the malaria that caused everybody to be sick. It wasn't an effect. Did it on that term, over a few hundred years, it really did benefit Rome. Over a few thousand years, has it benefited? I mean, that is up for discussion, and I think it's the same here with our, and part of that comes into the source water protection agencies that are looking at that. Where's the recharge? Where's the resource? Where's the effect of that water, and do we get it off? And laying on top, what does it collect, and does it go down into our aquifers? And there's many complications to it, but we have to keep it in mind.
What about placing field and building on top of these areas? Because when you look at the east side of Hanover, where the liquor store went, the Shoppers Drug Mart, that was a swamp area. It still is part swamp, filled up. When there is, within the official plans, there is proper land that's not in hazardous zones that can be built on and developed. Why are we allowing this to happen?
I think that in that instance where you're saying there was mitigation factors put into play, as you'll notice that the parking lot, and there'd be nothing going any further to the east. And I guess that is why we were in discussions with the town of Hanover, that they didn't have the property. And going south, it looks like there is a better, as some good book said, where it does say, you know, build on high ground, don't build on the beach, and your home will be safe. So I think that we're taking that into effect here. Okay. All right. That's it. I will need there's no public notices, Mark, at this point in time. Municipal Act notices, I guess. Looking for adjournment. Mr. Hutchison has motion number 20. Thank you very much. I'll accept that. We stand adjourned.
Municipality.